Good evening, this is Kuro. Got a Tier 9 game in my Tier 8 Akizuki. Going over the matchmaking. Got a Buffalo, Cleveland, Atlanta rounding out the radar threats. Fletcher, Benson, Asashio are all detection threats to Akizuki, and an enemy Akatsuki, which is just pretty much food with its concealment. Uh, Not really able to take this ship on head to head, although if you play it smart with the Akatsuki, you could use your guns to chunk this thing down pretty good, then smoke up and disengage, basically hit and run sort of play style. But most destroyer players don't understand that about the Japanese DDs, and you know they just misplay it. So the map is hotspot, 3-cap domination. Initially, I tell the team that I'm going up to C-cap, and the team decides they're not following me. And this is something that I think that a lot of destroyer players will run into. Um, Most of the time, I have ships following me. Uh, in this game in particular, I don't. So it's a good game to kind of see how I play it. And I basically just push up here, and I'm just seeing, okay, what do I got? I got a Seattle that's he's pushing hard now, and I've got a Scharnhorst. I don't expect that that's going to be enough up here on C cap. So I'm just going to type in chat that I'm going to B cap. There's no support up here at C, and I'm just going to go do my thing somewhere else where I feel I've got a little more support. Um, I'm going to actually ping these guys just to reiterate to them there's nothing for you here. And if they continue to go this way, it's pretty much on them. There's nothing I'm going to be able to do to really save them. But my intent is to kind of push up into this vicinity right here. So I've got shots down the backside of this island. I'm close to cover that if I get radared, I can kind of zone out. I do dump torps on this this Scharnhorst, kind of expecting him to turn in a little bit. Doesn't appear to be happening, and here's the enemy Asashio. And don't really feel like trading a bunch of HP, so just instantly smoke up. I've got a Seattle that's spotting the Asashio, so just chunking that guy down. I knock a little more than 6k off him. Switch to the Scharnhorst, and I want to get into a position to kite because I was detected. Um, the Asashio can't torp me, but there might be another DD up there that can. And here you go. So I get detected right here, and gonna pause it. That's telling me that there's a DD somewhere up in here. I've got my smoke screen in here blocking everything right in here. I guess maybe the Asashio could have button hooked up here and be spotting me, but it's somebody right in here or right in here is the location of an enemy DD. I'm inclined to say up here because the Scharnhorst is still up here, and a DD it would be pretty advantageous to push across there and go after the DD or go after that battleship all by himself. So I drop off again. So looking at it, actually, I think that it's the Asashio somewhere up in here. Or maybe the destroyer's behind the island now, I don't know. But I've clicked C, I'm looking right through my back guns. This Scharnhorst has blown his damage control, so I'm trying to get some follow-up fires on this guy. And I'm just gonna push out. There's nothing for me right here. There's no real other damage dealing opportunities. So I'm gonna push up to this gap. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about Akizuki's playstyle. You begin to shift from a more destroyer role to more of a cruiser role with this destroyer, where you'll notice that I'm not always constantly scouting. I'm using my guns, my torpedoes to create the DPM, to create the damage on the enemy team, and it's a major shift from how you play, for example, Shiratsuyu. Just trying to throw some shots in here. I've got a Seattle that's pushed into the cap, so I'm trying to focus this Scharnhorst. He's the threat to the Seattle. So that's why I'm not shooting the destroyers right now. I want to try to get this Scharnhorst down as quick as I can for my teammates. Nobody's really shooting me now, so I'm going to just poke out there and, you know, get it on, basically. And this is one of those things you got to understand, you know, when you get an opportunity to inflict damage, you know, you take it. I land a torp on the Asashio there. Just transitioning target to the Benson. Benson's going to run aground. That's telling me that I can get some decent shots in here. If I can hit. I think I'm aiming a little too low. I thought that he was going to come off that island a little more flat. But I get a little bit of chip damage on him. I think he gets radared right here. And just going to keep pouring the fire in on him. He gets blapped. Unfortunately, so does my Edinburgh. Now, we're in a bad situation. We're down 2 caps. We're equal on, or actually, we're down a ship, too. This Jean Bart is not going to be able to cap. He's going to be spotted by this Fletcher. These guys are all going to be shooting at him. So, I'm going to step on this cap, but I'm going to kind of make a determination in a second here. I'm thinking there's not much left up here at C, and then I see Akatsuki. So, just going to go to town on this guy. You can kind of see right here how sluggish Akizuki is compared to the other Japanese DDs. But boy, do you got DPM for a tier 8 DD. Now, I'm making a what if call here. Right here, I've got the Jean Bart on cap. He's going to be, you know, he's not going to be capping the point. I was kind of hoping that Seattle was going to come in, but I've got a Scharnhorst that's pushing up. I know this guy's going to push into the cap. So, I thought about staying in and capping it, but I just decided, you know what, we've got so many points already that we're down. I want to stop this cap. I don't think there's anything else up here. So I'm going to basically push up here, and while I'm capping, I want to see where this Atlanta's going. If that Atlanta, you know, pushes up, I might be able to work on that guy or get shots for, you know, a battleship, you know, as this Atlanta pushes through this gap. The Jean Bart goes down. Hey, don't tear that up. That's not good. And I'm in a hurry, so I'm just going to be popping my speed boost. You're all right. You're all right. Dinner's cooking. Shh. Calm down. I'll get you juice in a second. Hold on. The Seattle's coming with me, which there's nothing really up here. We're down to, you know, 5 ships on the enemy team. So I'd rather the guy have went to BCAP to help out, but since he's up here, it is what it is. Just taking a quick sniff here behind the island, and you can see right here in the background, that's the Atlanta shooting. He's beyond his max gun range. He's probably running AFT, so he's beyond 13, I think 13 and a half kilometers, something like that. If he's not running AFT, 11.1. Yeah, that's Daddy's notepad. You gotta leave that alone. So now that I got the points stopped on C, we've got points ticking in our for us. I'm gonna go step on B cap. Nope, nope, no drawing. We got a buffalo pushing up here, and I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm just gonna start engaging this guy. You know, we at this point we really need to get the damage out there, in my opinion. I do have smoke. If this guy really starts becoming a threat to me, I can smoke up, but I mean, you can see with my guns, I'm just doing consistent chip damage, you know, over and over. Hey, leave that headset alone. Buffalo transitions to me, gets an alright hit. Number 1 is trying to figure out everything she's not supposed to be in on my desk, and then getting into it. Briefly spot the Fletcher up here. And the Seattle pops radar on the Fletcher. And at this point, this Fletcher is the only thing holding this down. This Fletcher, he really should be running at this point. They need the points more than they need the caps. So I'm just, you know, pretty much playing like a cruiser right here. I'm shooting anything that I can to get damage out there. I'm trying to debate which side of the island I want to come around. It looks like the Seattle's going to push the Fletcher, so I'm going to take this position right in here and just cut that off so that Fletcher can't push that. Trying to help with the Ibuki. Just watching that Neptune, make sure he can't shoot me. And then we've got an Atlanta that's pushing the Seattle. Seattle finishes off the Fletcher. And that's my cue to really get moving, so I can't be reset easily by enemy ships trying to shoot at me. I think the Fletcher hit the Seattle with the torp. The Seattle's in a bad spot, so I'm just gonna kite back and make sure that we pick this cap up. It's, you know, 4 of us to 3 enemy ships. I am liking our positioning better than the enemy team. I'm on the cap. We're going to be able to get cap control here, or cap advantage. But I like that my team is actually somewhat together compared to the enemy teams. They've got a really healthy Atlanta split off, this Neptune, and this low health Ibuki. So what I want to do, I want to push up. I don't want this Neptune to be able to get into this island position, because that'll be a nightmare for me. So I'm pushing up. I want to try to spot this guy. They have to get into BCAP. There's 6 minutes left. There's not enough time for these guys to just try to hold out on points unless they're able to pick up some, probably 2 or 3 kills. So just spotting the Neptune here. And here, it's not critical for me to shoot. I'm doing my job, just providing vision for my team. If I start shooting, I might have to smoke up or something like that, and that'll break up the vision advantage that I'm giving my team right now. And right here, it's just regular destroyer positioning. You know, pushing up, keeping this Ibuki spotted, keeping this Neptune spotted, and even my position, if this Atlanta starts pushing up, I'm going to be able to spot this Atlanta as well. It's looking like the Ibuki's going down. Just going to ignore him, not going to try to kill steal. And that's the reason why. I didn't know where the Atlanta was, but I knew he was going to be somewhere close. And at this point, the only thing the Atlanta can really do is kite up here. I've got a lion that's going to be shooting at this guy, and I'm just waiting. I don't want to try to pick a fight. That it's going to take a long time for me to kill the Atlanta at this point. But this Atlanta gets smacked here in a minute. I'm pushing right back in to try to spot this guy. This is actually a misplay. Me letting this Atlanta drop off. That should not happen. But I pick him back up. And honestly, this Atlanta should have just drove through the cap right in towards C and just tried to even slow up the points as long as he could. But I see he gets hit and it's on. And this is one of those, you know, end-of-game rolls. Well, at any point during the game, you know, these low HP ships just working them down. You know, you don't want to, ideally you don't want a battleship to have to reload his guns and then try to finish off a low HP target. It's just not good for them because they're wasting all of that damage potential on a ship that, you know, may only have a couple thousand HP and is, you know, for all intents and purposes a free kill for, you know, any ship that's able to shoot them. So right here, my Fletcher makes a good play. Doesn't try to hug the island. He pushes the Neptune and just picks this guy up. I just start opening up. Want to try to get the kill. I am at 4 kills. Now, one thing when you're dealing with Royal Navy cruisers, just angle at them. You know, at this range, his shell arcs are pretty floaty. He's going to have a hard time, you know, landing shots on me consistently. And then what he does land, a lot of it is going to be just bounced, simply because I'm a really angled target. And you can look and you see just how angled I'm trying to keep this. This Neptune's slowing down. I think he's going to smoke up. I'm getting ready to turn and bring all of my guns to bear. I keep just pushing in because if this guy shoots me again, I want to be able to be in a position where I can punish that. At this point, finished off the enemy team. That's a win for us. And it's not a high damage game, but if you look at the base XP, it's a lot of destroyer damage. I've put in a lot of pressure on the destroyers. Not only that, but just pause it right here. They've reworked the way the XP works, and you get rewarded with a lot more XP for, you know, ships that are higher tier than you. So in this case, you know, I got a decent amount of damage on this Buffalo, got a decent chunk on this Neptune. all of all of that uh, XP really gets added up. And obviously, you know, most of the health off an Asashio, a good chunk off the Akatsuki. Um, it's all the XP just stacks up, and that's why it's 2.6 base XP. I did get some capture points, did have some defenses. Uh, you look at the damage, and honestly, there's usually a little more torpedo damage. Uh, Fire damage, just terrible RNG this game. I did have both fire flags, but it just wasn't happening with the fire damage, and it happens some of those games. No drawing, I said no drawing. So anyway, this was Akizuki. Only had time to play 2 games today, so I got the requested Akizuki game and the Shinonome game out today and get them up. Unfortunately, both of them didn't have CVs. It's just what Matchmaker brought me. At some point in the future, I'll keep trying to play these ships so I can get a CV match where I can kind of get into how to play them with a CV. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the game. If you got any questions, leave them below, and I will talk to you later.